Welcome, everybody. Mike Martinez and Mr. Sensei Juan. Sensei, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a little hot here in Queens, but we're doing good.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's pretty hot over here also, man. But, we're surviving.
Yep.
Today, we have a great topic. And what is it?
The power of focus.
Incredible, man. And I'll tell you, it's something that I really look forward to talking, especially with you about, because I know that as martial artists, we kind of zero in on that, right? But
Right.
yeah, we're gonna kind of help people that lose focus and
Right.
kind of move. They just can't kind of lock themselves in a situation, right? But
Right.
anyway, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, Sensei. We'll be right back, man.
Right, Michael. Tonight, topic, as we were discussing before, is the power of focus. And I think this is a very, very timely topic because we did speak about goals. We spoke about mentoring. This is Born to Win conversation number 9.
Yes, sir.
We've covered a lot of things. And what happens is, and it's not just, here in New York, it's throughout the world where people get excited about a goal, right? And maybe they have some discipline, they have some passion, they write out their goals, and they may even have a mentor. They'll do everything correctly. But as time goes on, they lose focus, all right? Or they get distracted here and there. And sometimes it's not a big distraction that knocks them off course. It could be like little things, like, you got to pick up whoever from the airport, or maybe somebody got sick, and that those things are important. It could be a family member, a friend. So you're lending a little support to them emotionally, physically. So you kind of you gotta put your goals on the side, and then something else comes up, and now it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you kind of lost your focus. And that I think is one of the biggest things why people don't achieve their goals. Yeah. Is they get distracted. It's like, I'll give you a perfect example. We're both martial artists, right? And I learned very early as a martial artist, if I go home before I will go to the dojo, chances are I wasn't going to get up out of that couch, okay? Because you go home, you're doing this, you're doing that, and by the time you look at your watch, oh man, it's a little late. By the time I get to the dojo, the class has already started. I'm going to be late. I'm going to get embarrassed. I'm going to get extra push-ups. I'll go tomorrow. Now, tomorrow comes around, and then there's another distraction. So for myself, what I had to discipline myself to do was, as soon as I finished work, school, whatever it was, I would go straight to the dojo. All right? No distractions, because I knew if I went home or if I hung out with my buddies for a little bit, the dojo was going to take second place. And I had to maintain that discipline. As passionate as I am about martial arts, if I didn't maintain that discipline, I would have gone by the wayside. And that happens to a lot of people, especially like yourself. You're a man, you're supporting your wife, or you're both working. You have 3 children, you're raising your children. There's schoolwork. There's always something to fix in the apartment or in the house or with the car. So if you don't stay on track, I think it's really the little things that cause us to little by little to lose our focus. You know what I'm saying? You have any feedback for that, Michael?
Yeah, actually, very interesting. I think, man, that I have Bob Proctor as a mentor, right? And Bob Proctor, for those that don't know him, he's a prolific author. He wrote a book called, You Were Born Rich, and he was part of The Secret, the movie. And he talks about one of his mentors telling him, write on an index card, put it in your pocket, carry that goal with you all the time, every single day, so that every time you put your hand in your pocket, that creates a stimulation through through your nervous system that triggers that idea in your mind. And by doing that, you solidify the idea and it becomes part of you, right?
Right,
And
right,
I can tell you from my own personal experience, I wish I could say that it was different, but I've written hundreds of index cards, right?
right,
And
right,
for some reason, within a month, I'm not carrying it anymore, right?
right,
And I used to do a training for my public adjusting business. I used to
right,
train public adjusters, and come the new year, I used to say, all right, guys, this is what you're going to do. Write your goal for the year on that card and carry it with you. And then 2 weeks later, I'm doing a training. All right, who got that card with you? And
right,
nobody has it, right? Now,
right.
this is what gets me. And this is where really I thought this was a great topic for us to talk about, because writing an index card doesn't cost anything, right?
Right, right.
Reading that index card doesn't cost anything. So why are we not following through? So to me, either you really don't want that goal, right? Or it's not that important, or you just don't see yourself seeing that goal. Now, as a martial artist, and let me ask you this, because I think creating a milestone towards a goal, right?
Right,
Like
right,
when you're a white belt and a yellow belt and a green belt, whatever, and you're working towards black belt, okay, there's this particular form I need to learn. There's particular katas I need to learn. There's something I need to prepare for the next promotion belt, right?
right,
And so that's a little milestone that kind of
right,
gets you through the process. So
right.
do you think that that's something that we're missing when we create our goals?
Absolutely. Because most people are reward driven. Okay. I mean, some people are driven by pain, but most people need to see, we live in a world where immediate gratification has become king.
Right.
If you're not rewarded immediately, people give up on things, children, and that's the kind of world. Listen, if you turn on your computer and you Google something, if it doesn't pop up in 2 seconds, you're ready to call whoever, tech support and everything. Hey, listen, I had to wait 3 seconds to download this video or whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So we're very, very immediate gratification. And the problem that we have is that to achieve our major goals in life, to make major changes in life, it takes time. It really, really takes a long time. Unfortunately, there are just some things you can't rush. Like they say, it takes you 21 years to become 21 years old. Okay,
right.
you can't do it in 15 years. You got to go through that process. So, like what you're saying, if you take your goal and you break it down and you reward yourself along the way, that will keep you going. All right. But at the same time, is that we and not in a negative way, like I was saying before, we can get distracted by little things. It's like that example that I'm pretty sure you've heard this example. If you take a frog and you throw it in a boiling pot of water, it jumps out right away.
Right.
But you take that same frog and you slowly increase that water temperature, that frog will stay there until it boils to death.
Right.
And that's how humans are, that we get distracted by little things, and we'll say, okay, you know what, I got this, I'm sorry, I can get back to that in a little while, or I can get to it tomorrow. And we don't realize that every time we do that, we're just taking a little step further and further away from our goals. And if we don't get ourselves back on track, at least as quickly as possible, before you know it, that goal has become third place, fourth place, even last place, or you just might forget about it, completely, right?
Right.
Because you may have other things going on that, again, life can pressure you. There's the children, there's the job, there's, your relationships. There may be your parents that you got to take care of, other commitments. And if you don't refocus yourself, reset yourself every single time, you're going to lose that focus. You're going to get distracted. And before you know it, 5 years have gone by and you're still where
Yep.
you were 5 years ago.
Right, right.
What
Let
do
me
you think,
ask you
Mike?
this. Let me interrupt you
Um,
here for a second. How important do you think it is for the person to be able to actually see themselves already in possession of that particular goal, right? Because I think one of the biggest obstacles is that, ah, man, yeah, I want to do this thing, but man, getting that black belt is so far ahead, right? So, man, can I withstand 4 years of this training? I mean, sensei is pretty rough, right? And
right,
we're talking martial arts, but that could also be business, right? You
right,
could
right,
say, wow, can I really make it through the all the rejections that I got to be facing in order to get the clients that I want to get? Can I go through this disease and do what I need to do, alter my diet
right.
and eating habits and whatever in order to conquer this thing? So how important do you think it is for me to to really step into that idea of I can accomplish this before I quit, right? Because I think that's one of the key elements.
I think you're 1,000% right, Michael. You know, visualization and seeing yourself where you want to be works at a couple of levels. Number one, when you create that vision, right, that imagery, your body and your mind naturally move towards those things. We're very visual people, okay? Bright colors, things that are colorful attract us. So even like when you're attracted to a male or a female, it's the physical that you first notice. All right.
Right.
And that's how we're made. All right. So now if you plant that in your brain is going to constantly be seeking that vision out. And then once you see that, you're going to see things in your environment that you haven't noticed before, things that will support that vision, things that will reaffirm that image about you. And it's funny because, the scriptures say, call forth those things that are not as if they were.
Mm.
And I think that's a powerful statement from over 2,000 years ago, that sometimes it may not exist in our present reality, but we got to call those things forth and bring them into reality. And
Mm.
it's like what you were saying the last time we spoke was the power of the word. In the beginning was the word, and that if we express those words, through language, but through imagery also, we're increasing the chances of fulfilling that goal or that destiny. And I know that you had told me that sometimes in the morning you go through a process even before you get out of bed, correct?
Every
Yeah.
morning, right?
Want to share that with us? And
Yeah. Well, um, as you know, uh, I call the grand creator of the world, right, Jehovah.
right,
And I read somewhere from a guy named Neville Goddard that the name Jehovah is spelled out uh, JHWH in the Jewish Hebrew language, right?
right,
And that meant see it real. In the Hebrew language, those letters are pronounced Yod Hey Vad Hey. And in the Hebrew language, those words mean see it real, feel it real. So,
wow,
yeah, so I go through the process of every morning before I even get out of bed. Once I'm aware that I'm still there, right? What very interesting, and I don't want to get off topic here, but
right,
very interesting that we go through these wave patterns in our mind, right?
right, right,
Right
right,
now we're awake, and that's called beta. Beta is 14 to 20 impulses, electrical impulses in our brain. And then the
right,
next one down is alpha. And then the
right.
next one is theta, and then delta is when you're sleeping. So it happens in reverse when you're waking up, right?
Uh-huh.
And so if you can, while you're in theta or alpha, those two stages, if you can go and start implanting pictures and implanting
Wow.
affirmations,
Wow.
right?
Right.
It
Right.
really affects the subconscious mind. So
Right.
very, very interesting. So what I do is once I'm aware that my eyes are open and I'm awake, I try to step into the situation, right?
Right.
And I look at where I want to be, how I am, enjoying the end result, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and that's the process that I do every single morning, man. So I
Right.
stay in bed another 7 or 10 minutes, just going through this mental process every day, right? And
Right.
I'll tell you, it works beautifully for me because a lot of people would say, Mike, how are you getting the things that you're getting? Because they
Right.
don't, a lot of people don't see me work, right? And
Right. Right. Right.
they think that I'm not working. I do work, but things have a way of coming to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I
Right.
believe it's because I'm projecting things in my mind the right way. So
Right.
yeah, I know that in martial arts we use certain anchors, right?
Right.
What can you share with us about that? Because I know in your school you guys recite a certain affirmation in the
Right.
beginning,
Right.
right?
Right.
And there's certain things that you could do to kind of get your body in that stage. So what
Yeah.
do you got to share about that?
One of the things we do, we always start with meditation first,
Mm.
and then we start with our, then we say our student pledge, right? And that sets the tone because one part of the student pledge is that I'm on a quest to be my very best. I'm on a quest to be a black belt. This is a black belt school, so that already sets the tone that, listen, whether you're a white belt, yellow belt, orange belt, green belt, we're training to become black belts. We're in a black belt environment. We're training to become our very best. And the act of bowing is a tremendous thing because that's how we start the class. But we also end the class with meditation and we recite the student pledge again. That way the kids know that, listen, we start this way with focus and we end our class with concentration and focus again. And sometimes I'll clap my hands, boom, because they know, all right, we Sensei's clapping his hands, we got to kick it up a notch. So I've
Mm.
already, programmed them that way. I programmed myself that way. And, it's important. It's important to have those anchors. And sometimes those anchors could be a phrase, a word, there was a comedy movie with Eddie Murphy and Robert De Niro. It came out years ago where Eddie Murphy, he's an actor trying to become a cop. No, he's a cop trying to become an actor. And anytime he says it's showtime, he gets all psyched up and he'll go after a criminal. He'll do better with his thing. It's a hysterical movie, but his catchphrase was showtime. And you will see him. You will see that change in his body. I strongly recommend the movie. If somebody wants to see something really funny, it's a great movie. But we need to do that. Some people will carry a rock, right, in their pocket, and whenever they touch that rock, that's their key to be stable, to be relaxed, to be strong. And it can be different things, like what it is for you could be different for anybody. It's not any one thing. And also I think that sometimes we lose focus because we don't surround ourselves or create an environment that reminds us of our goals. And
Mm.
this is what I mean. Like I have a vision board, right? I have my journaling, my journal book, right?
Mhm.
And I write in it at least 3 times a day. Okay. I carry my goals with me. All
Mhm.
right. In the morning, like I said before, there we
There
go.
you go.
I always start with some kind of motivational CD video on my way to work. I'm still listening to that. Okay. Because I think that because we could get so easily distracted, the more we create an environment around us that will pull us back to our focus, it makes things easier,
Yeah.
because then I don't have to constantly remind myself. Like my vision board is when I wake up, that's the first thing that I see. I have a playlist that's called Success, right? And any video there, it's a motivational video. So once I click on that, that's going on. I'm already programmed that when I get in my car in the morning, I don't listen to music, I don't listen to the news. It's just my success videos. Okay. When I get to work, the first thing I do at my job, I go into my journal before I start my day. So that's become my key to start my day. And I think if people did that, and it's not that hard to do, it's really not that hard to do, it would be a lot easier to maintain your focus. And if you do lose your focus, it's a lot easier to get back on track.
Right.
And
let me interrupt you here, because
sure.
you know what? You talked about something that's very key, and I hear a lot of people, some people talk about it, and that's affirmations, right? Yeah. And what you're doing with your before you start the class is a form of affirmation, right?
Actually, right.
When you start and when you end the class. And affirmations have gotten a lot of, a bad reputation because people think it's just a waste of time. What are your personal views on that?
You know, I think the way affirmations are taught, it is a waste of time. Okay. I think there's a lot of people out there who have misled people with affirmations. Affirmations are great, but if you don't embody them with emotion, real emotional content, that you put a lot of feelings into those affirmations, it's not going to happen. Right. And sometimes your affirmations are too far out there. Like if all your earning is, let's say you're earning $30,000 a year, and you put out, in 6 months, I'm going to be making 300 million. Part of your brain is going to say, maybe that's not realistic. It's not impossible, but it's not the most realistic approach. So yes, have high goals, have high standards, but maybe your affirmation, I like what Les Brown says. He says that to tell yourself it's possible for me to do this. Like, you may not be able to say I'm doing it right now, but you can say it's possible that I can achieve that goal. That's motivates you. It's realistic. And then if you put enough emotional content, you gotta, it's gotta come from the heart. It's really, really you gotta blend it with your feelings, because, again, this is very science, in the field of psychology, psychiatry, we justify our emotions through logic. Mm-hmm. All right. We're first emotional creatures, then logical creatures. So if we want to make changes, we got to look at the emotions that are behind those emotions. And it's something you and I had talked about. You remember, and I'm going back a couple of years to a conversation we had, that when you set a goal, you got to ask yourself, why do I want to achieve that goal? Then you have to ask yourself, why do I want the benefit from that goal? Right? Then you got to ask yourself, well, why is that important to me? Why is that important to me? Why is that important? Until you get to that root cause. Then you can base a really good affirmation on that. And I just feel that works better than a lot of the stuff that is out there. And I know you have experience in this, right, Mike?
Yeah. Well, I remember being in your school and seeing that pledge. Right. And it's not a pledge that people, because everybody's kneeling down, they're sitting down. And it's not like they're saying, yeah, this is a black belt school. Yeah, I'm a black belt. I want to do the best I can. No, they're like, this is a black belt school. Yeah. Right. And you can feel the emotion. You can feel the spirit behind that. And that's what makes a difference. Tony Robbins talks about, as opposed to affirmation, he talks about incantations, right? Where he says the difference is that you are associating your whole body. You're putting in, the energy in you're putting the spirit into it, and that's what makes a big difference. And you're 100% right as far as going in and saying something that's so far-fetched that you really can't fathom the idea, or your mind is saying, nah, I don't know about that. That's a little too out there. It's good to have goals that are going to stretch you, right? And you need goals that are going to stretch you. But if you do it too far out there, right, I
Right.
mean, something very interesting. I just heard a Napoleon Hill lecture. This was when he
Right.
was alive. He was actually doing the lecture. And he said, what I said was what the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. He said,
Right.
it's not that it will achieve, it's that it
Right.
can achieve,
Right.
right?
Right.
So just because you're believing it, or doesn't mean you're definitely going to achieve it. But I thought that was a little distinction there, but very, very powerful. So
Yeah.
he was saying, hey, listen, you got the potential to do whatever it is that you want, but you
Right.
got to be very careful about how you're going to put it into play, right?
Right. Right.
So let me ask you this: what would you suggest? And we just talked about journals, right? One of
Right.
the things,
Right.
and I think journal is going to be a very good, next Born to Win conversations is going to be about rituals, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but journaling, I think, is an excellent ritual, right?
Right.
Because you get to write down your thoughts, you get to see where you're going to be in the future. Sometimes, and I'll tell you, there was a book that I read. One of my mentors says that you should write your future in the ideal way. Write it
Right.
down in your journal, right? And then
Right.
tomorrow, improve on it. And then the
Right.
next day, improve on it. So that's
Right.
one of the strategies that I think helps you stay focused on your goal, right?
Right.
What
Right.
would be another strategy that you would suggest our listeners? And by the
Uh,
way, if you
uh,
haven't subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't commented yet, we want to hear your comments. So if you agree or disagree with anything that we're saying, put a comment there, or let us know that we're touching something in your mind, or we're
right. Right.
we're you know we're helping you out in one way or the other. But let us know what. So Sensei, what would you say is another strategy?
One of the things that works for me, okay, I I believe I have a life calling, a life purpose, and I think if you can define that, what is your life's purpose? What is your calling? Right, that eliminates a lot of distractions
Mm,
because anything that comes into your life that has nothing to do with that calling and that purpose, you're gonna know to push aside. Just push
right.
it aside. And once you identify that, then you say, okay, what are the steps that I have to take every day to keep moving me or that will keep me on that calling. All right. And you have to define that. And a lot of people don't. It's amazing how you can talk to 100 people and they'll tell you what they want in life. But if you ask them, but what is your purpose? What is your calling in life? Not what you want, okay? Because most people are going to say, well, I want more money. I want my health better. I want a bigger house. I want a better car. I want to travel the world. Listen, anybody can say that, all right? But what is your purpose? What is that calling? What is that thing that you would do for free? If you were never getting paid any money, what is that one thing that you would do every single day and never get tired of it and look forward to doing it? You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
that you would do and you would do it to the best of your ability every time. If you identify that, everything else falls into place. Okay. And you maintain that calling in your heart, you maintain it in your mind. And then when I think I had mentioned this 2 talks ago, that I kind of drive my kids crazy with it every time we go out, or even my students, because wherever I go, I look at the place. I said, man, this will make a great karate dojo. I don't care
Mm,
if it's a restaurant where, man, I will put it back there. I would have put it back there, but that keeps me focused. You
mm,
see what I'm saying? That keeps me focused because no matter where I go, I'm seeing it as a karate dojo. Okay. And I look for lessons in life that I can apply to my martial arts and teach my children. So sometimes things happen at the hospital. things happen, just meeting people or maybe something I read, and I'll bring it to the dojo. So I'm constantly thinking about that. I'm kind, I feel that martial arts is my calling. This is what God put me on this earth to do, was to teach martial arts. So everything in my life is focused on that. And there are times, Michael, I'm human. I get distracted. I make mistakes. But because of that passion, because I feel that's my calling, I eventually find my way back. You know,
Yeah.
and I think with your experience in martial arts, and you've had multiple teachers, you've had multiple training partners. I think that you probably have a very good insight into that also, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I want to kind of expand on what you just mentioned. When you do it in yourself, is that part of your visualization practice, or is it something that you revisit every day and say, "Hey, this is my calling. This is what I enjoy." Is it something that? How is that? How is that working in your mind?
You know what? It's amazing. In the beginning, it had a lot of visualization, right? And it's something that I enjoyed. But as I saw, and I say this very humbly, Mike, I don't want to come across as arrogant or conceited, but as I saw the impact that martial arts could have on people, the impact that it had on me, the impact that my dojo is having on the lives of other people, I realized this is where God wanted me. And when I look back and I see all the things that had to fall into place for me to have the school that I have, to have met the teachers that I have had, to for the people who have opened doors for me, I just can't believe that was just blind coincidence. There was a lot of things that just had to fall into place just right in order for me to be where I am, in order for me to have met the teachers that have come into my life, to have the students that I have. I always say that I'm super blessed with the students that I have,
Mm,
because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be a great teacher. I'm a great
right.
teacher because of my students, not because of me, but because of my students. So that's something I feel in my heart. I don't know if that does that make any sense? Does that?
Oh, of course, man. What it makes sense to me is that you are focused on something that's so critically important to you, to your psyche, that you are totally aligned with it, right?
Right,
And because you're seeing the fruits of that, right? I mean, I know the struggles that you went through in the beginning,
right,
right? I
right,
know the times where you were saying, "Hey, man, they might close down the school because I don't know
yeah,
where the next rent payment is coming from,"
yeah,
and you went and overpassed that, and you didn't just overcome it. You overcame it with such gusto and such ferocity that that you attracted things to you, right? And that's what I
yeah.
think is so critically important. But let me ask you this, man, because if a person right now, after they finish seeing this, we're about to finish, right?
Right.
After they finish seeing that, they say, "Okay, well, yeah, I could write down in my journal, what is my calling in life," right? That's an important thing.
Yeah.
I could write down in my journal my goals, right? Very
Right. Right.
interesting that in the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, in the thing about desire, right? In the
Right.
in the in
Right.
the chapter on desire, he said, write down in a piece of paper what your goal is, and what you're going to give in return for achieving that goal, how long
Right.
it's going to take. He gave down a formula, right? And
Right.
then he
Right.
said, read it 2 times a day, right? And
Right.
that's one of those things that I'm saying doesn't cost you anything to write that in your journal. Doesn't
Right.
cost you
Right.
anything to open it up and read it every day. Yet people
Right.
don't do it, right? So this is what I want to kind of trigger the person that's looking at this. If you're looking at this and you got a goal that you're saying, "Man, I've been having this in the back of my head and I want to do it. I don't know how to do it." That's
Right.
okay. If you go out there and take a simple step every single day,
Right.
every
Right.
single
Right.
day, look at something every single day. Talk to yourself as if you already have it. Every single day, find the mentors that you need in order to get that, right? Every single day, start living, stepping into that. You're going to
Right.
find that the universe opens its doors, and the people that you need get attracted to you. The circumstances that you need come to you, right? We've talked about
Right.
this many times, right?
Yeah.
About just circumstances, just all of a sudden, I remember a couple of lessons ago, you said, you were talking to your son and you said, I got to buy 5 uniforms. And then
Yeah.
you said, you know what? I'm buying 15 instead. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what you did was you opened the door for the universe to say, hey, give them 15 new students. Right.
Right. Right.
And that's what happens. So a lot of times, and it's very, very difficult for most people, that when you're looking at the world out there, and
Right.
you're saying, man, I want this goal, I want this goal, I want this goal, but you're not seeing nothing. It's like you
Right.
drop the seed in the ground and you're waiting for something to sprout and it doesn't sprout, right? And you're saying,
Right.
you go tomorrow and you see, and oh my God, where is it? And nothing's happening. But
Uh-huh.
something is happening. And something's
Right.
happening to a very small level, and it's going to pretty soon break loose, but you're too impatient. And what happens is you say, forget it, I'm not going to water this anymore,
Right.
and you
Right.
go somewhere else, and now that thing dies, right? So it's a
Right.
matter of staying there and seeing it through and nurturing the idea and making sure you let God do what he does with the sun, and you let the
Right.
soil nourish that seed, and you go and do your part by watering it. And if you do that consistently, that's what
Right.
happens. So going back to my question to you, we got one of the things that both Sensei and I highly recommend is that you get yourself a journal. And a
Right.
journal is a great way for you to capture ideas. Sensei talked about a vision board. That's where you go out there and you create, pictures of what it is that you want. You put your picture of yourself in the middle of that board there, and then you got, the cars that you want, and the house that you want, and the money that you want, and the success that you want, and the travel that you want, and the
Right.
whatever
Right.
whatever it is. Sensei did that. I remember seeing in
Yeah.
Sensei's house, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember seeing the index card. We were just talking about the index
Yeah.
card in the bathroom, saying, "I'm going to be one of the greatest martial art teachers of all times."
Yeah.
And I can tell
Yeah.
you guys, if you're in New York, in the Queens area, take the time to go. It's just a
Thank you.
train.
Thank you.
The train is right above there in Jackson,
Jamaica Avenue. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll tell you, you will have a great time. You'll have a great time talking to Sensei, and you'll learn a lot just by his influence, right? But the bottom line is, it's a matter of taking little steps every day and just
Right.
staying
Right.
focused with that, right?
Right.
So, what else could you add to this before we
Well,
end, man?
there's this another key element to it that I, in my opinion, Michael, I think gratitude
Mm,
is extremely important. How does gratitude keep you focused? Because if like you were saying before, sometimes people give up because they don't see results right away. I look at it this way, and again, I'm just expressing a very humble opinion. I I'm always grateful that I have the opportunity to teach. I'm grateful, and sometimes it's frustrating, but that I get to clean my dojo, that
mm,
I get to mop my dojo, that I get to sweep that floor, because at the end of the day, it's my school. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday, after we taught all morning, part of the afternoon, me and my son, we stayed up to about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, reorganizing the whole dojo.
mm.
And, my students helped me out initially, and one of them stayed very late with me. But, it was a lot of work. I mean, I was dead at the end. But after everything was done, right? And, my son went upstairs, my student went home. I sat down in the chair and I'm looking at what was done. I said, man, there was a time nobody thought I would be a martial artist. When I joined, they thought I was going to quit. When I said that I was going to be a teacher, they never thought I would be a teacher. When I opened up my school, there was people, and I'm talking about family. that felt my school was not going to be successful. Okay. So I am grateful. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's tiring that I get to do these things. So when you mix the attitude of gratitude with everything that you're doing, that keeps you focused also.
Yep.
Because instead of it being a labor, it becomes something that you enjoy and a blessing, man. And sometimes students frustrate you. There are times when students don't always work as hard as they could, or they forget things, and that can frustrate you because you're giving 100%. But I always step back and I say, you know what? I have the opportunity to live my passion every day. Not everybody can say that.
Yep.
I have the opportunity to impact somebody's life in a positive way, like you, through your network marketing and the people that you're bringing into your business, and you're helping them create a better income and maybe overcome their shyness, maybe helping them learn what they thought they could never learn. So when you look at that, you got to be grateful for that. And
Absolutely.
You're looking at the impact that you're having on those people. There's no way you're going to fall off a track.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that, again, with the experience that you have in network marketing and how you teach people, how you run your classes and what you're teaching them, that at some point you look at it and you step back and you say, wow, man, I'm blessed to do this. How could I ever stop doing it? You know what I'm saying, Mr. Mike?
Yeah. No, that gives you a whole other energy, man. Being grateful. And what's very interesting is that I firmly believe in this expression: energy flows where attention goes. And when you put your attention on, hey, you know what? I am so grateful because I got a great wife. I'm so grateful because I got a growing business. I'm so grateful because I got a great family. I'm so grateful because I know Sensei Juan, right? When you put your attention on the things that you're grateful for, more things come to you for you to be more grateful for it. And that's right. And when you focus on the other things, right, it's the same thing. Energy flows where attention goes. If you focus on, oh man, how come I don't have 100 students yet? Right. You're always going to be missing students. You're always going to, it's always going to be a lack mentality. It's very, very interesting what happens. Just that little shift, the little shift in your mind. It's like setting off a button, right? And now you see the light go on, and you say, wow, yeah, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. That's one of the things, and maybe next week when we talk about rituals, we could get into some of that, because I'll tell you, that's one of the probably the most powerful ritual. I remember Wallace Wattles, weird name, right? Wallace Wattles. He wrote a book in 1917 called The Science of Getting Rich. And that he devoted a whole chapter, and actually they wrote the book The Secret based on that book, right? The Science of Getting Rich. But he wrote a whole book, a whole chapter on being grateful, and what kind of vibrations you release into the universe because you're being grateful, and how, whether you believe in the universe or God or whatever it is, how that brings you back what it is that you're releasing, right? So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So again, for those of you that are looking, if we missed anything, and you know what, I'm sure there's a lot of things we have missed, write it in the comments. Tell us what it is that you're using to stay focused. And maybe you're not staying focused. Maybe you can tell us, hey, you know what, I'm going to start writing in a journal. I'm going to start using incantations. I'm going to start being more grateful. I don't know what it is, but make sure you give us a comment. We look forward to those comments. And if you see that what you learned today or what you heard today can be of value to you, and it could be of value to somebody that you know, make sure you share this with other people, so you can send this off onto, the YouTube world or Facebook world, and other people can get in touch with it and find some value. Anything you want to say in closing, Sensei?
I just in saying, guys, keep the faith. Keep the faith. If you have a passion, a goal, a calling, things can get rough, and sometimes it feels like the world doesn't want you to achieve that goal. And people that you think should be the most supportive are not. You know, sometimes friends will let you down, you know, but this is the process. This is, you know, whenever those things happen, always look at it this way, that the universe is eliminating the distractions for you. Because once you achieve that goal, or once you're in the process of creating or living your passion, you don't want negative people around you at that level. It's
Right.
better to get rid of them in the beginning. That way, when you achieve that, hey, the people that have stuck with you, those are the people you want to devote your time to, because time is short. You can't give your time to everybody. And
Yep.
if people are negative, people are not supportive of you, they don't believe in you, get rid of them in the beginning. It's hard and it's heartbreaking, but in the end, you'll be so much better off. And always remember, guys, like I say, we live in the greatest country on this planet. We live in America. If you work hard, if you do things right, you can get a free education. You got YouTube, Google, there's free public libraries. You can go to the Better Business, the Small Business Administration, where they will offer you free classes. Okay. And sometimes some of the classes you got to pay, but it's $20, $30. All right. To get you where you want to go. Take advantage of it. Live your passion, guys. I truly believe that you will have a calling. I have a calling, and the world is a better place if we pursue that calling. That's just my message, Mike.
Beautiful message, Sensei. Beautiful as always. Thank you very much for sharing the stage here with me, and truly appreciate you. Your information always gets me charged up, man. I won't be able to sleep tonight, but I'm looking forward to our next conversation. That's going to
Sure.
be Born to Win conversation number 10, and it's going to be on rituals. So if you're looking, make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you can get the next one that's coming. And again, share, like, and comment so that we can get some feedback from you. And if you have a topic that you'd like us to cover related to success, related to personal development, make sure you write that down, because you know what? Sensei and I have been through, a lot of different
Right.
topics. If you look in the back here or in my office, I got tons of books that I devoured, and Sensei too. Sensei's a big
Yeah.
reader. And we take little information from different people, and we put it together, and we try to compose our own successful plans. And we've had some very interesting lives that we could say, we've had some good things happening, and we're helping people. So Sensei, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you. I will see you next week. We'll be talking about rituals, and give my love to the family, man.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Thank you.